For a small town, we do have a lot of, of media coverage. There's no doubt about that.
It's a really crazy little oasis that of local news. It really is, of local, not just news, but everything that you could want.
I think there's a feeling within the community that there is a need to support local newspapers and realize the value in having a strong newspaper presence here.
It's very strange that we have so much media coverage here, but I think that's a great thing.
We're very fortunate. I think there's not many small communities this size that have that kind of access.
So we all kind of work together, and I truly think that is why, everybody's so successful.
So there's 3 newspapers, 2 of which are owned by the same company, but they're all owned by local people. And they all are weeklies. And then there's 2 radio stations. One's a community-based station, which the joke is that the old people listen to it, right? The other one is the younger group, and a lot of the people who are real livyers. They've been here for a few generations.
When it comes to the local product, because we've got such a depth and sort of breadth of journalism here, people are going to get everything they want in terms of hard news, in terms of event coverage, in terms of what's on. All of those things are so very well covered by the various media here that they don't really have to, they're not wanting for anything.
Obviously there's a huge influx of people coming here during the summer, but I think the biggest difference we see in our coverage during the summer with those seasonal residents is during our event coverage. There's just way more events, way more people at those events.
It is a totally different creature in the winter months.
We get a lot of good coverage from the health and wellness sector, making things available to people that might want it, and there's a focus on seniors. I'm not seeing it so much in the summer.
They will draw attention if there is a challenge, and poverty is a big challenge up here for local residents.
For much of the time it looks like a real haven, but it's poor. It's the poorest demography in the country, in the province, right? But people don't believe it because it looks so nice.
I just don't see that in the local papers.
Yeah, even though there's only like 1 editor and 2 journalists, we do our best to cover the whole area. You can never get blanket coverage with the amount of people that we have, but we certainly do our best. But it's never about some puppet master holding strings above us and telling us what to do.
Having good relationships with the people in the community here is critical. They're the sources. They often give us story ideas.
I still kind of get butterflies in my stomach for specific stories that are going out there because I know so many people in a very close vicinity, are reading it. My neighbors and stuff, like my landlords upstairs read it, and they tell me, they give me feedback on an almost daily basis too. So the community is very, very engaged.
I found early in my journalism career, and it's always been with weekly newspapers, that you're very aware of the community in which you live and the community of which you write about, because you're going to run into the person you wrote about in the grocery store, in the post office, or on the street. And if they're not happy, they're going to challenge you, which is fine. I don't mind the challenge, but you better be right. When there were only 2 newspapers in the county, and they were independently owned, individuals, myself and Len Pizzi at the Echo, we competed on a strenuous basis as far as news was concerned.
We became both the heart and the conscience of the community. And if you do that well in a small town, and it's a complex and challenging thing, but if you do that well, then you become a fundamentally important part of how the community grows and develops.
We were able to operate in our own sort of distant bubble, so there was some value in being somewhat away from all the action, but we've been discovered and there's some interest.
And that's why what you're seeing in many small towns is a revival of the small town ownership model, because corporate ownership in small towns is a failure. And the best community newspaper can be. It is the heart and soul of the community. No one knows the community better. No one cares about the community more. It can be a force for tremendous good. And it tells stories that would never be told anywhere else.